Woodbine Mohawk Park. The gates fly from the beautiful Niagara Escarpment in Campbellville, Ontario, Canada. Home to the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup Classic, and host once again to the ultimate 12-race championship showdown, the 2019 Breeders' Crown. Woodbine Mohawk Park. Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. You gotta play here.
This isn't the usual. It's not the same old, same old. It's an adventure. A chance to rediscover excitement. To remember what your heart beats louder for. This isn't the usual. It's so much more. Your experience starts at OntarioRacing.com.
Carmen Auciello ended his 2018 season with over $2.8 million in purse earnings. This was his sixth consecutive year to earn over $2 million. Jonathan Drury and Carmen Auciello have connected over 100 times in the winner's circle last year. Today, we catch up with them, connecting in a different way with their twos in training. Thanks for having us here today, Carmen, and congratulations on such a successful 2018, ending with an O'Brien Award for Aged Mares with Exhilarated.
Thank you very much. It was a great year.
So who are you most excited to see return to the track this year?
I guess Exhilarated is my big hope for 2019. She had a great year last year, won the O'Brien Award, and we didn't give her much time off, about a month. And she didn't come back real sharp, but now she's raced the last couple weeks, and she finally got a win last week, and hopefully it's upwards from here.
Moving on to your two-year-olds, are there any stake races you kind of automatically pay into?
I guess everything in Canada, we kind of automatically make the first couple payments. The Metro, the Nassagawa, I think it is. And you don't like wasting money, but at this stage, March, April, February, I think they start. You kind of have to put them in there. I mean, why else do we buy them and breed them if we're not going to give them a chance to race in the big races?
You have your two-year-olds here in Hamilton and your race horses in Port Perry. How do you manage the two stables?
Just with a lot of good help. That's the main thing. I don't get out to this stable as much as I'd like to, but I've got Jonathan Drury running things, and he's got really good help here as well. And, with technology nowadays, you can almost run a stable from anywhere. I've had a stable in New York for the last 6 years, and I only get down there once a month, and they've done a great job as well. So as long as you can keep in touch on a daily basis, or by the minute, if you need somebody right away, cell phones, you can get in touch with them. So it's pretty easy.
And you and Jonathan Drury have a unique relationship. How did that come about for your two-year-olds in training this year?
It was kind of by chance, but the last 5 or 6 years since our racing stable grew, we haven't had time to do our own babies, so I was sending them out to other people. Tommy Riley, Donnie Graham, they did a lot of them over the last 5 years, and they did a great job, but this year we had a much bigger crop, and we spent some good money on a few, and we've got some nice homebreds, and I just thought, to give my owners a fair shot, I want to try doing it myself. And so we tried it, and Jonathan was the first person I asked, just because he drives them, which makes perfect sense right there. He's going to train them down. He's also going to be the one driving them, and he's one of my best friends, and it worked out great.
And as a group of two-year-olds, do you think they'll be successful coming into the racing season this summer?
I think so. I spent the day here today training a bunch of them, and they're right on target, and they feel great, they look great, so they're going to get every opportunity that they can. Obviously, there's going to be some, hiccups along the way. Out of 23, they're not all going to make it as two-year-olds, and they're not all going to be successful, but you start with enough of them, and you start with some quality, then chances are we should have 4 or 5, nice horses.
Let's talk about some of your two-year-olds. First up, Same Wave, a Mach 3 colt.
Yeah, he's kind of one that I have high hopes for. I named him after a song that was written by 2 of my best friends, and it was actually the first song they wrote, and the 20th anniversary of the song is coming up this year. So it's kind of an inside story to the name, but he's a Mach 3 colt out of Rolltideroll. she raced up here for quite a few years, and we actually never raced her, but we bought her after her last race and bred her, and this is her second foal. The first filly didn't quite turn out like we'd hoped, but I trained him today. We went in 34, and he does everything right, and he's got a nice way of going, and I'm pretty high on him.
Light Up the Park, a colt you got for $62,000 at Harrisburg.
Yep, so actually a funny story with him. I had nothing to do with buying him or looking at him. I met Robert Barry, who's from over in Ireland. I met them after he had bought that horse and a few other ones on the third day of the Harrisburg sale. And we just kind of hit it off. We made a deal to take 4 of his yearlings on at the time, and he's the best one by far. He's a nice, big, well-said colt, and he does everything right. We trained in 30 today. And he just wants to go more. He's got a real good head on his shoulders and a nice way of going, and he's got the speed. So, we paid him into, quite a few stakes. So hopefully it works out. He's Pennsylvania eligible. So, eventually he'll head down to my New York barn, and we'll race from down there. But so far, so good with him.
OSS eligible Blue Oyster colt for $15,000 at Harrisburg.
Yeah, so he's a Badlands Hanover colt, and he's actually a full brother to Bring Home the Blue. It was one that I've had a couple times over the last couple of years, and not a real good horse, but he did take a mark of 50 and change, or 51 for us, I think. And another funny story with him, I've got a new owner in on him as a partner, and I said, if you buy half the horse, I'll let you rename him. So he was named Land of Blues, which is kind of a musical name anyway. And he said, well, how about Blue Oyster Colt? Kind of a play on Blue Oyster Cult, the band from the 70s or 80s or something. So
I could have used a little more cowbell.
I don't know much about the band, but he does, and it's one of his favorite bands. So I said, okay, you can name him that. But nice, big, strong colt. Real nice way of going. He trained in 35 today, doing everything right, and I can't say enough about him as well.
Tsimis, a homebred filly, Ontario sired eligible and Ontario bred.
Yep, she's a homebred, so we actually, I think this is the only foal we have out of that mare. Her name was Linatawa, and back in the day, Isaac Waxman had her, Travis Henry had her. She was kind of a hard-knocking mare around Georgian Downs and some of the B tracks and stuff. It's our only foal out of her. It's a Mach 3 filly. She's not real big, but she's very, very gutsy, and she wants to go probably a little bit too much at this point. She trained in 30 today as well, and doing everything right, just she needs to relax a little bit. She's kind of wanting to go a little more than we want her to go right now. But, when you're going in 230, that's not a huge issue. Hopefully by the time she's ready to qualify, she's, develops a little bit more maturity-wise and, starts to settle down a little bit.
You have an American Ideal filly, Wanabe American.
Very nice filly. She's at a Weeping Wanabe, so she's kind of an older mare that's had quite a few foals. This is the second foal we've had out of her, and nice, big, strong filly. Just trained in 34 today, and does everything right. On one line a little bit, but I think the guys will get that corrected pretty easily. She's sound and flawless gait to her, so she's I think my only New York sired filly, and I'm kind of looking forward to having her race down there.
Muscle Mass filly, Rockadero, an Ontario bred.
Yeah, she's a muscle mass filly that was one of our homebreds, and my one owner and his wife, we like to name a lot of them after the Flintstones. So she's kind of got a Flintstone-y name. I don't know which character Rockadero was on the show, and I hope it was a good one, because she's going to live up to that name. She's a real nice filly, gorgeous way of going. She trained in 42 this morning, but she's ready to go more and wants to go more. I've had a few muscle masses over the years, and they're probably my favorite breed of trotters around here anyway. And she's doing everything right so far. So looking forward to, the next few months with her.
OSS eligible filly, BR Serena Slam.
She's a Daylon Magician filly, another trotting filly, and she's out of Rose Run, Oriana, who Rolling Hills Racing Stable bought 5 or 6 years ago, and I actually was able to race her a few times. Real nice filly. She had a mark of 53 or 54. I think she was an Ohio-bred filly, but mare anyway. But they bred her, and this is the first foal. It's a Daylon Magician, and she's had a few quirks along the way. But the boys today tried some trot and hobbles on her and a set of toe weights, and she was flawless. She trained in 43, did everything right. So hopefully she's on the right track now. She wants to do it. She's going to have the speed. It's just whether, she develops the gait that a couple of the other trotters have. But so far, up until today, she was a little bit touchy, but today's the best she's gone so far.
We have a first crop of He's Watching, a colt, He's Swift.
He's Swift. He's a homebred for my owner, Bob Burgess of Cedar Valley. And it's out of the mare Allamaerican Swift that we raced for a couple of years, but she was a really nice, tough, big mare and set the track record at Kawartha Downs, and I think it still stands. And so this is her fourth foal. The first three, we had a couple Mach 3s and a Better Than Cheddar. They've all made it to the races. They've all been racehorses, but no real standouts. I think he's the best of the bunch so far. He's got a gorgeous way of going and a great attitude. He's still a stud, which is nice. And he trained in 32 today, I think, and did it right. So hopefully, he's going to be a little bit better than his siblings and live up to his mother's name.
What's your favorite time of year?
Christmas for sure. Now that I've got kids, just seeing their faces light up on Christmas morning, it's the best feeling ever. Watching them run down the stairs, and I mope down the stairs because I still want to be in bed, but they get you up at about 6:30 or 7 to open their gifts, and it's the best day and the best season for sure.
The best horse you've ever trained?
It's a toss-up, I would say, between Kame's Fellow, who I still have him actually retired, but we raced him for a couple of years. He had a mark of 47-4 from a few years ago, and he won the preferred a bunch of times for us in 49 and a bit. Between him and I would say Physically Inclined, the horse that I have now, who's right there in the preferred every week, they're probably the two best horses I've ever had.
Your favorite sports team?
Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs for sure. Actually, I was at the game last night in Toronto with a friend of mine, and I bleed blue. I wasn't alive last time they won the cup, but hopefully I will be the next time they win one.
If you could only watch one, would it be the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup?
If the Leafs are in it, then the Stanley Cup, but if not, then the Super Bowl for sure. I'm, like I said, a big Leaf fan, and if they were in the Stanley Cup, I'd be watching it. I'd be partying in the streets of Toronto with everybody else. But if they weren't, I kind of lose interest in hockey after they're eliminated. Like, I watch the postseason, but I'd much rather watch the Leafs. But when it comes to football, I don't have a favorite team. I just kind of cheer for whoever I bet on. So the Super Bowl is always a big gambling day for me. So so Super Bowl for sure.
If you weren't a horse trainer, what would you be doing?
My biggest ambition growing up was to be a PGA Tour pro. I wasn't quite good enough. I did play for the University of Toronto for a couple of years, so that was fun. But if I wasn't training horses, that would be my dream job. Other than that, musician would also be something I'd love to do.
Oh, the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
If you could win any race, which one would it be?
Definitely the Little Brown Jug. My father-in-law and I started going there every year just after I met my wife, or my eventual wife, and them in 2000. We made it about 10 or 11 straight years down to the Jug, and it just became a great week and a great party, and it's one of those things that I'd love to be a part of it. Even if I don't win it, I just want to race in it one day, but to win it would be amazing.
What's your favorite movie?
I would have to go with Dumb and Dumber. I think I've seen it 325 times, and I can recite it pretty well line for line.
Your best family vacation?
One of our 7 trips to Disney World for sure. But it's funny, my daughter Leah, she's 8, turning 9 this year, and she had the privilege of dancing at Disney World in December of last year.
Where's your go-to restaurant?
Oh, geez. In my hometown of Stouffville, we've got a restaurant called Stakeout, and got to know the the owners and the managers there really well, and they're really good friends of mine now, and they've been involved with some horses with me and stuff. So we go there every Wednesday night after men's hockey, and that would be my go-to restaurant. It's not a big chain, but it's for a steakhouse, it's one of the best around for sure, and I really enjoy the food and the company, and so that would be my go-to for sure.
We've touched on it a bit, but you're very musically inclined. Do you have a favorite karaoke song?
Yeah, probably Piano Man by Billy Joel. That's one that pretty well, if I had to go up and sing one song, that would be it. Usually I'd never stop at one song. There's usually 5 or 6, but if I had to pick one, it would be Piano Man for sure.
Thanks for joining HRU and Twos in Training, and good luck in your 2019 season.
Thanks very much, Jaimi.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and trusted news source and the fastest growing publication in the game. HRU has you covered with award-winning features and commentary from some of the sport's best writers. Stellar photography, race news, results, entries, handicapping, and video replays. The industry's most comprehensive sales results, and Harness Racing's best reader feedback section. And it's all delivered free of charge to your email box multiple times each week. See why HRU is the most trusted news source of the sport's most important people from all facets of the industry. Subscribe today for free. To subscribe, just go to harnessracingupdate.com and then click subscribe for free.